Time a wallaby down, boy, time a wallaby down.
Let's burn through that.
Hi, my name's Dax.
And my name's Nick.
And welcome to the Cold Room, our YouTube rugby chat show.
We've got our fire blazing, hot coffee. I think we're ready to delve into this weekend's action.
Yeah, big smiles as the Australians got thoroughly walloped this weekend.
Yeah, but you know what, at the same time, so did the South Africans.
Yeah, not a great one for the Stormers, unfortunately. Lions also.
Yeah, the Lions got thumped.
Sharks and the Bulls were the only really good game out of the South Africans, but local derby.
It was a fantastic game of rugby though. The tries that were scored in that was sublime.
Top notch.
Starting off from the very first try, even though it was disallowed, it was pure masterclass from Kerwin Bosch.
Yeah.
Off the counter attack. Disallowed, fair enough, foul play. Then the second try, a grubber from Jesse Creel to be collected by Galant, who nearly lost it in turn.
Yeah, I mean, he had a few bubbles there, but I mean, very well to control. I mean, that's the most important part. You got control, put the ball down, try. Yes, referees, he's allowed to just put downward pressure on it.
So, I have to say that Sharks-Bulls game, the scoreline was a perfect reflection of the game it was. It was a really tight game, good forward battles, especially the scrum.
Yeah.
I think it's really good to see the players playing like they are now, especially with June fast approaching.
Yeah,
and
right.
with the news of Malcolm Marx being injured for 6 weeks, essentially missing the entire series.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that hooker battle that we had, Strauss versus Akka van der Merwe.
Yep.
So I was talking about it to my future father-in-law over the weekend, and we couldn't decide who we were going to start at hooker, hypothetically.
I mean, it's two-tiered. I mean,
Carefully, you don't burn yourself.
it's two-tiered because Akka's really good off the starting line and putting in like a good 40 to 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's tenacious. He's really quick. I mean, he's one of the faster hookers out there. I mean, the guy is quick. He's nimble. He's really got a low sense of gravity, so he's really good in the ruck and maul situation. Strauss, I would think, will be such a strong impact player. I mean, he's done it for the Bulls, although he also has played really, really well starting as well. So it's a nice problem for Rassie Erasmus to have, especially if Akka does go into that role and Strauss comes out of retirement to fill that veteran role that we need in the Springbok setup.
Possibly that test in the US would be a good way to test Akka as a hooker.
Yeah,
given that he hasn't been in the international squad before.
I mean, you must remember you have to you've got to lead a guy in some way. Maybe even start Strauss and have Akka come off the bench.
Yeah.
For the first 1 or 2 games, and then switch it around for the final one to see how he does starting. I mean, we have to bleed these guys into the Springbok squad from somewhere somehow. I mean, we're probably going to have a few debutants going to feature in the Springboks this year anyway. I mean, we're going to have Sabu Nkosi from the Sharks, who's playing some fantastic rugby. I mean, he's definitely my first choice to be out on the right wing.
I agree with you there.
I mean, the guy's big, he's physical, he's tackling well, he's good under a high ball, he's great on a counter attack. I can't fault him.
Not like the Stormers left wing, hey?
Look, Raymond Rule didn't get run over this weekend. His defence was a lot better. I think they nullified him very well on attack. I mean, the Stormers' attack this past weekend was completely nullified by the Chiefs. And I mean, I feel for the Stormers. I'm not trying to make excuses here, but we didn't really play well. I mean, last week against the Bulls, when we took them out of their aerial game by having 2 players back, didn't do it this week for some strange reason. And Damien McKenzie capitalized on that. I don't know why or how we dropped that strategic tactic out of a game against the Chiefs, who have a really good kicking game.
No, I agree with you there.
I mean, something's wrong in that Stormers setup for them to go away from that. The other big issue that I had this week in the Stormers game, besides the fact that the Chiefs nullifying us completely everywhere, is we played against the referee at times. I mean, there's some calls that even Nick Mallet said were like, where did that come from? I mean, and I totally agree with him. Impartial referees have to referee these type of games. You can't have a South African referee or New Zealand referee reffing a South African New Zealand derby.
Yeah.
And the same goes for New Zealand, Australia, and
yeah, I mean,
Australia,
we
South
spoke
Africa.
about this after the Bulls Stormers game about
Yeah.
the impartiality of referees, and
I mean, look how good that game turned out.
yeah,
And the other thing is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I mean, the Stormers game was stupidly stop-start the whole time. I mean, there's so many handling errors. It was really not even worth talking about. But having said that, and leads to the song I sang earlier, the Australian sides.
oh shame. Let's take a moment's silence
Moment
for
of
the
silence.
Reds,
Thumped by the Sunwolves.
and not just like thumped. This was asses handed to them. Thank you very much. See you next season.
I mean, that South Africa said, as South Africans, we always talk about, the state of South African rugby is bad and all that type of thing. Across the Indian Ocean, the Australians are pulling their hair out.
Yeah.
Literally. They are, if we are disgruntled rugby fans, they are like,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I wouldn't be surprised if half of the Australian supporters actually became New Zealand South African supporters.
Well, the thing is, we got to.
Or Sunwolves supporters after this weekend.
Yeah, well, Sunwolves do need the support. The thing is with Australia, though, is that we have to acknowledge that their rugby union is their third most popular
Yeah.
collision sport, behind Aussie rules being the first one, and rugby league.
Yeah.
Those have more viewership, more investment than rugby union in Australia, which is interesting considering the global nature of rugby union compared to rugby league. But it does affect their player pool.
Yeah.
You take a look at someone like Sonny Bill Williams, being a convert from rugby league.
Yeah. That's true.
So, and he actually represented Australia in rugby league.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for me, I actually feel for the Australians because there's something that they're just not getting right, whether it's player retention or something. Maybe even get a few of the guys doing like rugby league or Aussie rules training drills. I mean, their skill level is not there at the moment. That's for me the biggest thing. Out of the three big unions in SANZAR, the South African skill took a total overhaul, and you can see that a lot of, like Jesse Creel this weekend, his handling, his passing, his decision making has improved because of that decision making overhaul. You look at players like Damien Dialendi, who's also benefiting from that change of mindset that is starting to creep into, or not creep in, slowly starting to be chiseled into South African rugby. We can gloat all we want about New Zealand, because their skill pool is up here and the rest of the world is just following.
But you know, I think we're
following
kind of clawing back at it. If you're looking at the recent results from South African New Zealand teams, we've either squeaked wins, or we're losing by smaller
Shorter
margins than we used to. So I think we are kind of clawing our way
getting
back
there, and I mean, and our playing pool is starting to get better. I think this year, against the incoming England squad, I think we got a really good chance to win the series.
No, I think we do. I mean, I think the bookies are saying South Africa 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 seems like a really, really fair assumption at this point.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen what the extended squad is and that's going to be. So.
But England have announced their squad. They're busy training right now. They're missing some really big names.
They're getting some players released from New Zealand.
Brad Shields, interestingly, is going to be part of the English training camp following the conclusion of this break of Super Rugby.
Yeah. So So that's an interesting one, or an interesting signing
Yeah.
coming in for them. I mean, it goes to show that they need like a real, like physical specimen in the in the rucks, walls and scrums that they don't have at the present moment with all the injuries that they currently have.
And speaking of English rugby, very interesting article came out about how the Cheetahs, obviously having just finished their debut season in the Pro 14, I mean, congrats to them for getting to the knockouts. Big achievement, an amazing season.
Yeah, that's
But their CEO was talking about how European participation is the future of South African rugby because one, the travel is so much easier, time zones easier.
Well, you're just going up and down, you're not going left or right.
Yeah, and then at the same time, you're looking to increase foreign sponsorship into your setup, which, if you don't know the state of the rand, the South African currency, to the pound or the euro is quite low down in the pecking order. So that's a really big investment, even if it's not such a big investment from the overseas company's part. So I think that's a really attractive business model for a lot of, especially the smaller unions in the country, and possibly even the bigger unions. I mean, we had Lions CEO say that, you know what, there is the possibility of millions and millions being made in Pro 14 or other leagues like that.
Sorry to interrupt. The only big problem I have with that is our rugby seasons from February till, say, end of October. Their seasons all the way from August through to about May.
But remember, following the conclusion of 29 World Cup, we start to have global seasons, much like soccer.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
So in that sense, it could work.
And that's a big if, and I mean, Sands are busy blowing smoke and saying like it's never going to happen, South Africans are never going to exist. I actually think that Sands or South Africa, Saru should see this twofold. Have a set of franchises that play Super Rugby, because we have to play Australia and New Zealand teams. That for me is
the most important. I'm going to argue that what are you going to have? Are you going to have your low franchises playing in Europe and therefore just giving the perception that South African rugby is useless? Or are you going to split? No, I'm just talking about, like, let's say the Griquas or Falca or Pumas, you know, the smaller unions that don't really front up too much in the Currie Cup. Or do you then have your bigger unions, your Stormers, Bulls, Lions, Sharks, go and actually have fair shots at these titles? And then who's playing Super Rugby? I think for a long time now, Sanzar has basically given South Africa the middle finger in every decision that's made.
That's also true. I think, which lends to the thing that South Africa might actually just eat Super Rugby.
Yeah. And I think it's a better business model.
Probably.
Sorry if they want to. If we could get participation into the European Champions Cup, something like I read somewhere that making just like the quarterfinals of that is something like £1 million revenue.
Wow, that is quite substantial.
So
and they also just got that massive sponsorship injection for after the 2019 World Cup.
Exactly.
In terms of viewership and sponsors.
So I mean, for the business model, especially in South Africa, where our unions are really struggling. Look at the Stormers, the Bulls, and the Kings, all facing liquidation crises right now.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, it's a very strong possibility, and I mean, the travel expenses as well, going from north to south, is probably going to be cheaper than going west to east.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shorter travel. You're looking at a 22-hour flight that way and a 12-hour flight that way.
Yeah.
So also the time impact on the players is not going to be that great. The time traveling is going to be a lot less. I mean, to me, it all makes more sense the more that we discuss it and the more we talk about it and how we look at it. But I mean, like, again, if we are going to participate in Super Rugby from 2020 to 2030, as they say that South Africa is going to participate in, I wouldn't leave it as weak teams go up, strong teams stay.
No.
I would actually strongly recommend that all the unions look at what the best possible solution is so that we have strong teams competing in Europe and strong teams competing down here.
My only concern.
Even if it's scrapping Stormers, Sharks, Bulls, Lions and creating, say for example, 6 really strong franchises. Just start 6. Because in Pro 14 we only allowed 2 at the present moment and 4 have to say in Super Rugby.
True. My thing is that, let's say we go forward with this, we decide we're leaving Stanzar, and we join European Rugby. You might find that it's not going to be limited to 2 South African teams. But also, should we really consider the Kings anymore? I mean, they won 1 game out of 21.
Yeah, but you would probably say, for example, if we do it that way, say for the 6 things, you have, just as an example, a team built up of, say, Northwest, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, create one side, and then Durban thing create another, Lions, Bulls create another, and then we build from there. I mean, even if we go Lions, Sharks, and create 2 strong.
Yeah,
I mean, look, the player depth we're supposed to apparently have in South Africa.
Supposed to. But remember, those French top clubs, they love poaching our teenagers.
But I mean, if we're competing in Europe, we can probably poach some of those players back.
Yeah, especially with that cash flow.
Correct. They'll have guys like Francois Lowe coming back and Pat Lambie.
No, Pat Lambie must retire.
Yeah, he should actually just retire. Blowing his knee out 3 minutes in. Players like Vincent Koch and
those guys.
Schalk Brits and all those guys can eventually start coming back into the fold. I mean, get South Africans playing overseas into a South African franchise again.
And you just look at the current top 5 of the world standings.
Yeah.
You obviously have New Zealand number 1, but 2, 3, 4, and 5, all 6 nation sides.
Correct.
Then comes South Africa and Australia.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, we took a dip from the last 2 seasons because one, our national team wasn't.
But my point is that I don't think it will hurt our rugby.
No,
playing in that territory.
But we need to figure out how we can play New Zealand and Australian opposition as well, because how do you actually compare your competitiveness than what it essentially was? Look, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, before this whole mass exodus and stuff, the strongest 3 nations rugby-wise were South Africa, New Zealand, Australia.
Yes, that is true.
And that's fallen away.
Yeah, that has fallen away quite a bit, and maybe I'm not sure what the actual reasoning behind it is. It could be twofold, but thankfully Saru and Stanzar don't have to make any decisions until after the World Cup. So we're kind of beating a dead horse here, talking about this, but it's an interesting debate.
That's an interesting debate.
But I think we've bored everyone long enough. Shall we go into our predictions for the week?
Yeah, let's go into our
let me
predictions.
make my Super Brew picks at the same time.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, we didn't do this that well the past week.
We got 4 out of the 7 games, right? Let me double check that result. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 8 games, right?
5 out of 8 games, that's not bad.
No,
We're
5.
doing better than SA Rugby, mate.
We just got the Highlanders game wrong and the Sunwolves game wrong.
Okay.
So we got 2 games.
Did we say the Chiefs were going to beat the Stormers? Or you did?
Well, I did.
Yeah. So then I'm 4 out of 8.
Okay, so we'll start on Friday. Okay, so Friday morning we got the Hurricanes versus the Reds. How much are the Hurricanes winning by?
It's a bye. I mean, we're not gonna.
19 points, 18 points, 20 points.
You know what? Let's say 14.
Okay, 14.
That's 2 tries.
2 tries. Okay. Good season from the Hurricanes. Played 10, won 9.
Yeah. I mean, they are. I think Crusaders are currently at the top of
Yes, because more bonus points. That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. But I mean, the Hurricanes are really they are really the New Zealand side for me at the moment.
And then early Saturday morning at Prince Chichibu Memorial Stadium, we've got the Sunwolves versus the Stormers.
I'm just going to say Stormers. I'm going to say about 10 points.
Okay, I'm going to say Stormers, maybe not by 10 points.
Well, I would like to say that as much as I know that the Sunwolves beat the Reds by, the Stormers also beat the Reds, so we're a different horse.
Okay. Yeah, it's a different horse. But again, we're bringing up travel now. This is all the way in Tokyo.
Well, they left this morning, so they'll acclimatise.
Hopefully fairly soon.
Yeah.
Okay, then we've got a New Zealand derby. But
Mm.
again, this is just how much are the Crusaders going to win by when they play the Blues.
Shame. I feel sorry for the Blues, but they're going to get thumped by the Crusaders.
Yeah, I'm going 14 as well.
I'm going to go by 10 to 14,
Yeah.
considering that the Crusaders came from behind 29-0 and thumped
The Waratahs.
The Waratahs.
31 unanswered
29.
points.
Yeah, 31 unanswered points. I mean, that's
Speaking of the Waratahs, the following game in Sydney is the Waratahs versus the Highlanders.
oh. Okay, the Highlanders blow hot and cold, and the Highlanders weren't that great against the Lions.
Weren't
This-
that great, but you're saying a team blowing hot and cold that's won 70% of their fixtures.
No. Okay. Waratahs don't stand a chance though in my book. I
No.
think at least 7 to 10 points.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I'm going to just put down 9 because I have to put a
Figure.
figure to it. Then we come back to Derbs 3,
Devin Brack.
with the Sharks versus the Chiefs.
Look, if the Chiefs can nullify the Sharks' attack like they did to the Stormers, the Chiefs are going to be difficult to beat.
Yeah.
We also need to see who is going to be refereeing the game as well. For this one, I mean, hopefully they're going to choose an impartial ref for this one, because we really need it. I mean, we can't. I mean, the
Yeah.
Chiefs have a good kicking game. I think McKenzie's settled in that fly half now. Chiefs can win this one if they do exactly what they did against the Stormers. Nullify the attacking game. I mean, Brodie Retallick at the Ruxham Halls was an absolute menace against the Stormers. If he can nullify the Dupree brothers,
All three of them.
and Mackenzie said, and the Chiefs nullify Roberts, the Sharks are going to have a very difficult time. Sharks in the Shark Tank, I'd like to say I want to see them scrap a win out of this one, maybe 3 to 5 points. Chiefs though could also win it within 3 to 5 points as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to be patriotic here,
Patriotic, go Sharks.
but only by 3 points. So scrape. And then we've got the Lions versus the Brumbies in Ellis Park.
Lions travelling back home from a shocker of a tour.
Yeah.
They don't have Malcolm Marx.
No Malcolm Marx, and highly unlikely they're going to have any support at this game.
I don't think Warren's back either.
I don't know.
So I honestly don't see the Lions turning around their season now and all of a sudden winning.
But it is the Brumbies.
It is the Brumbies. Look, the Lions are going to be down on confidence. If they do win it, then it's going to be by 5 points or less.
I'm going to say Lions by 7 because it's the Brumbies. They've only won 3 games the entire season. Not really performing. They're travelling, so I suppose both teams are travelling. That kind of negates anything.
It negates anything. Also, at altitude, I don't think the Brumbies will. Look, just say Lions by 5.
Yeah. And then the final game of the weekend in Buenos Aires, Jaguares versus the Bulls.
Whew. This is a tough one because the Jaguars have been a real titan killer at the present moment.
Yeah, but I have to say the Jaguars are very good at keeping the ball close and just hammering until they get to that line.
Yeah. I mean, if the Bulls have a really good forward pack at the present moment, they're doing really well with the forwards. The back line is doing exceptionally well. I think this is probably going to be the game of the weekend.
Yeah. It's a
To
pity
be
it's
quite-
at
to be
12.
Yeah. You're going to stay up for that, I know you are.
Yeah, I'll stay up for it. I'll attempt to stay up for it.
But
Old man.
the way the Bulls are playing and the way they beat the Sharks, I'm going to say the Bulls by 10 to 14.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Bulls by 10 just because I feel that the Jaguares, if they keep their discipline, if they just keep their formation, it will be a grinder for the Bulls. I
Yeah.
think it might come down to the boot at the end of the day.
It possibly will.
But I mean, given the Bulls' game plan this season is to actually stay away from the boot, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's a late night, but I'm clicking save. Click saved. And it was all done. Yeah, I think that's a good week.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks so much for watching.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of our predictions, of our thoughts about the death of Super Rugby, really. That's essentially what it's coming down to. And possibly the rise of a new European competition.
Possibly. I mean, the future's uncertain, but it sounds exciting. I mean, the possibilities are very open at the moment. And I mean, we need to just see what's best for South African rugby. And yeah, if it means an exodus into Europe, that's the way to go. Yeah. I mean, we have to see it that way. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so we can notify you.
Yeah, so thanks so much for watching.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Cheers.
Bye.